And numbers just in show that more than 3.1 million people in the United States have filed for unemployment benefits in the past week. The latest numbers have just been released by the U.S. Department of Labor. More than 30 million Americans now have lost their jobs. For the latest, Simon Marks joins us from Washington. Simon, another week, another set of bleak numbers. Is aid going out to those who need it quickly enough, though?
Well, we knew the numbers were going to be bleak again this week, Glenda. They're slightly bleaker than forecasters had predicted. They thought we were going to see another 3 million unemployment claims. This is people registering for unemployment benefits for the first time in the past week. In the event, we've seen just more than that, 3.169 million. That takes the total number of people who have signed on for unemployment benefits to north of 33 million here in the United States. As you know, there is the payroll protection program, the help to small businesses that the Trump administration has created. That should lead to some of these people being hired back by companies that may already have let them go. There's a lag in the numbers. Many companies have only recently received the money that they are getting under the payroll protection program, so they're now beginning the process of bringing people back to work. Let's see over the course of the next few weeks whether that has any impact on these numbers. But there is another problem, which is that many of the states across the country which process these unemployment claims, their systems are now underwater as a result of the enormous number of Americans suddenly claiming benefits. So the help that Americans rely on under circumstances like this, some of that is going to be delayed getting to them as the states deal with processing this now vast number of new unemployment claims. And that, of course, is fueling the desire of so many Americans to get back to work, the desire that we've seen symbolized by some of those protests all over the country in the last few weeks.
Yeah, anxiety certainly building, Simon. Concerns as well about mental health as financial woes continue to mount. What's being done to support people being laid off?
Well, I think the first point to make, Steve, is that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so a spotlight is being shone on this particular issue, clearly with people now all over the country and indeed all over the world spending time in isolation at home, not communicating with a particularly wide circle of people, at least certainly not in person. There is concern that that is going to lead to an exacerbation of mental health difficulties for people. And here in the United States, that is an issue that President Trump, of course, has highlighted. He has said, you know, you can't just ignore the rising tide of concern about mental health issues in the United States. He talks about the number of suicides taking place here, which he says is rising as a result of all of these lockdowns that have been imposed. It's one of the reasons why he says, you know, the lockdowns need to be alleviated wherever they can so that people hear a positive message and are given some opportunity to return to work. There is assistance for mental health included in some of the stimulus packages already passed. There may be a push for more assistance financially in the months ahead as this crisis intensifies.
Simon, I have a quick question. So the numbers of infections. Now, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo saying that over 60% of those infected had actually stayed at home. Question is, how are they contracting the virus then?
Well, I mean, that's a very big question, and the authorities in New York don't have an answer to it. They were surprised, they said, by this latest survey of 1,300 patients showing up for the first time at New York hospitals to discover that very few of them had been going to work, had been breaching, in any sense, the guidelines that exist about staying at home in New York City. Governor Cuomo wonders if they're not perhaps completely embracing the hygiene guidelines that have been issued by New York State. We saw extraordinary pictures yesterday of the entire New York subway system being swabbed down and disinfected. I can tell you I've never seen anything like that in nearly 30 years of living here in the United States. But it is a mystery to New York authorities why so many people are contracting coronavirus in New York at home. It's something that they want to look at, and Governor Cuomo is again urging everyone to redoubling not just the lockdown restrictions and staying at home, but the hand washing, the wearing of masks when you do go out, the avoidance of any kind of even casual human contact at close quarters.
Well, thanks, Simon. Indeed, a mystery they're going to have to solve real quick. Simon Mark speaking to us in Washington.